Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Global Solidarity Communities podcast series. I am Joy Day coming to you from hot and humid Tupelo, Mississippi. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to these conversations that accompany the second edition of the Chronicles of our organization. The Global Solidarity Community came together in August 2024 when people from different parts of the world united in the pursuit for justice following the tragic Abhaya case at Arjikar Medical College in Kolkata. What began as a movement for justice gradually evolved into something larger, a community of thoughtful, compassionate people from diverse geographies, cultures, and professions who believe in dialogue, empathy, and positive social change. Through this podcast series, we are trying to preserve these conversations and document the voices, experiences, and ideas that have emerged from this remarkable global community as it continues to grow and evolve. Today, we turn our attention to something that touches every one of us, our well being, and specifically our mental well being. So, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Gauri Saha coming to us from London, UK. My guest today began her journey in Western medicine as a physician and a psychiatrist, spending years understanding the human mind through the clinical lens. But that journey eventually led her somewhere deeper to Ayurveda. Today, Dr. Saha brings together both worlds guided by a beautifully simple philosophy. Our mind and body are a temple. Enjoy everything, overdo nothing. Dr. Gauri, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that lovely introduction. And thank you so much for having me as a guest on this podcast. It's it's an honor, and I want to thank yourself, and also I would like to thank Parumita Roy for giving me this opportunity. It's lovely to meet you as well.
Welcome, welcome. It's wonderful to have you with us. So let's jump right in. Stress seems almost universal today. Whether we are students, professionals, parents, or retirees, everyone seems to be carrying some invisible burden. From an Ayurvedic perspective, what are the causes of stress and how does Ayurveda understand stress differently from modern medicine?
Yeah, so that's really a very important question, Joy, because you'd be surprised, but modern medicine and Ayurveda actually complement each other very beautifully. So, while 90% of Ayurveda is preventative, there's only 10% of it which is for therapeutic purposes. Uh, so, now if we look at both the things, how does modern medicine look at stress? Modern medicine helps us to understand what stress is doing to our body, to our brain, to our nervous system, right? And to the
Mhm.
hormones. Whereas what Ayurveda does is it goes to the root cause of everything and it tries to understand where this imbalance is coming from and what is causing this imbalance, right? So in Ayurveda, we have a saying which is Roga Sarvepi Mandagno, which means most of the diseases and imbalances start from the gut, right?
Hmm.
And I think this is the best time than ever to be speaking about the gut and brain because it's around the 90s when modern medicine started talking about the gut brain axis. And this is something that Ayurveda has known for centuries and thousands of years.
Hmm.
So, the way Ayurveda looks at stress is it says that erratic lifestyle patterns, whether it is poor sleep, late night sleeping, whether it is irregular eating, whether it is even unprocessed emotions, mind you, okay, all these factors can first go and impair the digestion.
Hmm.
Okay. In Ayurvedic parlance, it's called as a doshic imbalance, or to explain it to people who are not very familiar with that, it means basically an energetic imbalance in the body. So, in modern medicine, stress is stress, burnout is just burnout. But in Ayurveda, it is classified into three different categories based on the particular energy that is more predominantly seen. So, like you will have a Vata stress where somebody is more anxious, more restless, and suffering from insomnia. Okay, you could have a Pitta kind of a stress where somebody is more irritable, snappy. This will be somebody who's aiming for perfection, right? And the kapha kind of stress is somebody who is feeling a lot of lethargy, is finding it really hard to move physically, mentally, emotionally. So that's
Wow,
how.
wow. Yeah. So just listening to what you're saying, I can see that it's fascinating because it shifts the focus from simply managing symptoms to understanding the whole individual holistically, as you put it in your website. Would it be fair to say that Ayurveda is less about fighting stress and more about restoring balance?
It's absolutely fair, and you've just got it perfectly, Joy, and you've put it so beautifully in a nutshell. Because in fact, not just stress, Ayurveda looks at any imbalance with that particular lens, Joy.
I see. I see.
Looking at you as
That's
a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, for someone listening today who has a busy life and perhaps feels that they don't have time for, excuse me. So, if they perhaps feel that they don't have time for complicated wellness routines, what in your mind would be three simple Ayurvedic practices that almost anyone could begin incorporating into daily life to reduce stress and improve mental well being?
Uh, it's that's a topic so close to my heart because Ayurveda makes it so simple for us, Joy, to incorporate healthy habits on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Because one needs to understand that health is not something that is just handed out to you on a platter or built overnight. Health is something that all of us build and we can create it on a daily basis based on whatever we do and the choices we make. That is health, I feel. Okay. So Ayurveda calls this as dinacharya or daily routines. And Ayurveda very beautifully specifies what we should all be doing to not just live a healthy life, but the catchphrase these days is it's about longevity and anti-aging. So these are the best anti-aging practices. And if I were to give you just say three of those, then the first most basic principle would be to follow your biological clock or to follow our circadian rhythm, Joy.
Hmm.
Because tell me, there's no other animal other than human beings, right? Who you see binging or having a late night or saying, I'm going to line today. There's
एकदम
nobody
ठीक
else.
एकदम ठीक बोले चो गौरी we have come so far away from our natural routines or যেটা তুমি দিনচর্যা বলে that I can see how that will affect us in the long term. Please continue.
So absolutely spot on, Joy. That's what it is. We have moved away from nature and we've also moved away from our own nature. which is why
Yes.
actually
Mhm.
we are suffering, and in a way we are creating our own problems. So one
So
thing,
true.
yeah, so one thing would be just follow your circadian rhythm,
Hmm.
with which I also mean, just like I was saying today to one of my clients, like how you tune the tanpura, or the harmonium or the
Hmm.
guitar for that matter. We all need to tune into our body's joy. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
that would be the first thing. And the minute you tune into your body, you start listening to your body. So which means you eat only when you're hungry. You don't eat just because you have gone to a restaurant and everybody else is eating. I'm not saying you should starve, but you eat when your body tells you so, when your body is willing to accept it. Only then will it accept the food and process it, right? But if your earlier meal is not even digested, what do? We still, eat just because we can't resist the temptation. So that's the other second
Cognitive.
simple principle.
That's right.
I'm,
That's right.
I'm sure this is not going to be a very popular thing to say. And
It will be hard to maintain a social life on that. But I really
yes,
appreciate these dinacharya symptoms. What else can we do which are simple and inexpensive in our
yeah.
daily lives?
Yeah, so the other thing is also, it's not just food, but it's, you know, in spite of being a medical doctor, till I learned Ayurveda, I was totally oblivious to the fact that even the fluids that we drink, even if it's just water, Joy, it has to be digested. Okay? So Ayurveda has an entire kind of decorum, specific guidelines on how to drink, what to drink, when to drink, and how much to drink. Okay?
So while we are
So,
on this topic, and since I have a cup of coffee in
yes,
my hand, what do you think about coffee?
cheers to that. No, cheers to that. Look, Ayurveda also, the beautiful thing about Ayurveda, Joy, is it's not judgmental,
Uh-huh.
and it says one size does not fit all.
Mhm.
Okay. So if coffee is the best thing for you right now, hey, go for it. Nobody's going to judge you, and enjoy it. Okay.
Appreciate.
Yeah. So one size doesn't fit all. Like, what's
Yeah.
medicine for one uh, could be poison for another, or, vice versa. So that's about the food and the drinking. But another thing which really fascinated me and for me gave me goosebumps, Joy, was learning and understanding that even your emotions have to be processed on a daily basis. So, like you and I were saying the other day, we take so much pains and effort nowadays all over the world. We are recycling everything, right? We are not. Why do we recycle? Just so that it doesn't pile up into this huge, ugly, unhealthy mess. But why aren't we doing that to our mind? Why aren't we doing that to the emotions, to the thoughts that go through our mind every day? In modern medicine, it's been found and researched that any thought, whether it's positive or negative, creates a cascade of emotions in the body. So processing thoughts, processing emotions is extremely uh, important, and it's something that should be practiced religiously, is what Ayurveda says. So, like I said, one could go on and on, but these are the basic three simple things I could say. And
Wow.
yes, if I could add one more thing, Joy, to that, because I think for me that's the most fundamental pillar of health, and
Hmm.
that is sleep on time. That's all. Don't doom scroll. Don't try to get that dopamine kick. I know we all need that, and we label
Yeah.
it as being productive. But if you sleep by 10, you know, health is in your hands, I would say.
I must say I learned something new, and especially the processing the emotion thing. These are simple things, inexpensive things, but I would imagine they will have profound impact on our certainly on our mental and emotional well-being, but I can see how it can affect us physically also. So as we come towards the wrap, thank you, Gauri, for summarizing so beautifully such simple, accessible, and most importantly, actionable points that we could pretty much start doing today for a better mental, emotional, and sure, eventually physical well being. So I want to now go to the deeper questions of the fact that one of the most profound ideas of Ayurveda is understanding the disease itself. So tell me, with your understanding and approach of Ayurveda, what is the fundamental cause of disease?
Uh, Joy, when I studied this aspect, I think I this might be my story about every topic in Ayurveda somehow. So it has been such a fascinating journey. So when I learned about how Ayurveda looks at the cause of disease, I could have hit the roof literally. Because if I tell you, so the first cause that it lists for that is called as crime against wisdom, which means when man knows, but he does not act better on it, right? So we know what is the right thing to do, but we don't do it. Okay,
Tell
does
me
that make
about
sense?
it.
Yes.
You're
So
hitting a nerve here, but please proceed.
yes, so without us getting personal, but if I were to think back a few days ago, or any one of us, right? We do this all the time. We have had a wonderful meal. We know we are absolutely full, but yet that chili with brownie, that doesn't stop enticing you. Or then that creamy looking chocolate ice cream or the chocolate fudge brownie with ice cream, it still keeps beckoning you, right? And what is your tummy telling you? Your stomach is saying, look, guys, we should call it a wrap, but we don't. So, so, so that's the first thing. And I couldn't believe it because how simplistic is that, Joy? You know, that so Ayurveda knew this 5,000 years ago that one day man is going to be overdoing everything. But again, I don't want to say that man is to blame for it. It's probably the abundance, sorry, that we have created around us. There's
Yeah.
everything in excess around us, right? So we can, save us some flack there. So, like for example, if I tell you again, like we were speaking about the doom scrolling and things like that, right? Or the binge watching that we do these days, right? You know that you need to sleep on time. You probably have a flight to catch the next day, or you have to get up early for a presentation the next day, but we still can't resist our temptation. Okay, so
Take,
that's the first thing. Now, this crime against wisdom is again classified into three categories. So, one is what the body does, which is what we spoke about. But what is very relevant to our topic today is that even the speech and through mind, we can commit this same crime against our intellect. And how does one do that? So, with our mind, the way in which we do that is when you're constantly feeding your mind with negative thoughts. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, they could just be grief, they could be sorrow, okay? They could even be anger, they could be jealousy, right? So it could be any of these thoughts, and all of us have been a witness to that, especially during COVID.
Correct.
That's what
Yeah.
happened, isn't it? We
Mm-hmm.
were
Mm-hmm.
only listening to all the morbid, sad news and everything happening around us. And people who were glued more to the news or to their devices, uh, bore the brunt of it. They
Yeah, yeah.
suffered
Unfortunately,
mental
it's still
health.
continuing now. It hasn't stopped after COVID, but I see exactly your point. We often feed our own anxieties with what we are
Exactly.
consuming. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I think so one has to kind of learn to draw the line. Empathy, compassion, all this is fine. But one also has to remember one's own body, one's own mind. And if you want to do good to the world and to the society, Joy, it's most important that you draw your boundaries and you ring fence your own health first. Charity begins at
Yeah.
home.
Exactly, exactly. You hit the nail on your head, on the head, Gauri, in this conversation today. It has been a fascinating journey through my own mind and emotions in this conversation with you. And believe me, and I'm sure our audience have learned a lot. So, প্রথমে ধন্যবাদ. Uh, and before we go, though, if there is a message that you would like our listeners to carry with them from today's conversation, what would be the few important points or one important message that you would like for us to leave with?
Yeah, I would love to, but before that, if I can just add one more thing to what we were talking about, Joy, that even what we do with our speech makes a difference to our health.
Hmm.
Now, again,
Hmm.
this is something I didn't know. So, which means if you use harsh speech, if you use dishonesty, okay, uh, any of these things also affect our health. So, I think that's a real eye opener, isn't it? So,
Right,
like,
that reminds me of Gandhiji's three monkeys with hear
yes,
no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. That kind of beautifully encapsulates what you just said.
yeah, no,
Wonderful,
perfect.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, you gave a perfect befitting example for that, Joy. I think which makes it really crystal clear for our audiences. And so now coming to what message I would like to pass, or what message Ayurveda I would say would like to
Hmm.
pass to people, is I think just to remember that our health is not just shaped by what we eat, but it's also shaped by what we speak, by what we hear, what we see, and what we say and how we act.
Beautiful, beautiful, Gauri. Thank you, Dhanyavad. I cannot tell you how much this time has been with you of value to me, and I'm sure with our audience. Dr. Gauri, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your unique perspective that beautifully bridges modern medicine with Ayurveda. I think what resonates most with me is the reminder that wellness isn't found in complicated formulas. It often begins with balance, awareness, and dincharya or simple daily habits, as you so beautifully commented upon. To all our listeners, thank you for joining in for another episode of the Global Solidarity Community Podcast series. As our community continues to evolve, we hope these conversations will encourage reflection, dialogue, and perhaps inspire each of us to live with a little bit more compassion for ourselves and for one another. I'm Joy Day, signing off. Until next time, thank you for listening.